to another action-packed episode of Comic Confidential, the world's hottest comic book movie and TV action podcast. I completely forgot the intro there, Troy. Completely thrown. This is like episode, 121?
It's 121.
And I was like, you know what? I can go without notes.
I honestly don't understand how you have not managed to pick it up yet.
It's very difficult, Troy, and I'm a simple man with simple needs, and I obviously need a little script at the start of every podcast.
You do. So for those playing at home, this is Comic Confidential, the weekly podcast where we bring you the world's hottest comic book movie and TV action. I'm your
host, Kay.
There you go.
And alongside me today in my studio today, Troy.
Yeah.
We're not in your studio. We're out of the cupboard.
We are.
We're in my little home office.
It's nice.
It's got nothing in it.
Yeah. It's nice. It's spacious. It's minimalistic.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. It's like like Scandinavian scant.
Yeah,
I'll call it.
I feel like my office is page 2 of an IKEA brochure.
Yeah, basically. It's just like a table, a chair,
white walls, white desk,
and a plate of Swedish meatballs.
Yeah, made of horse.
Horse?
Yeah. Didn't they get done for having like horse meat in their meatballs?
Did they?
I think they did.
I don't know about that, but whatever. Hey, whatever gets you through the day, I guess.
Would you eat a horse, Troy?
I wouldn't like to.
I mean, if you had to, you would.
Oh, if I had to, yeah, I'd. Look, if it's between my life and the horse's life, then so long, Sally. I'm assuming the horse's name is Sally. That's you're done.
Wow.
You're in me.
Damn.
But I would really rather not. So if it comes down to it, no. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, if the horse was trying to eat me, I'd have to show it who's boss and be the dominant male and
well, that's true.
Take a bite out of it.
Yeah, just wrestle it to the ground,
Yeah.
pin it, and then take a big chunk out of it.
I think so.
So that's what you get, king of the jungle, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are there horses in the jungle? I don't know, but I ate it.
Anyway, what else has been going on?
Troy, this is something big dropped this week that kind of snuck under the radar for us until kind of the last minute.
Yeah.
And that's DC Universe.
Yes. It has, DC have announced its streaming service. They've announced a few projects that are going to be coming along with it. And this is kind of really their answer to, Netflix. Disney, which isn't out yet, but it's coming.
What is the Disney streaming service called?
Disney
taking your money.
Disney streaming service.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that has
Mouse Stream.
Oh.
I'm not good thinking on my feet, man.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that.
Put me on the spot. No, but yeah, so this is kind of their answer to that. And they have announced they've announced 3 projects. So we already know Titans is coming.
Yes, the live action version.
Yeah, the live action version of Titans. There's also a new R-rated Harley Quinn animated series, which they haven't announced any more of that yet, but that's definitely a thing. And there's also it's a Teen Titans, a new Teen Titans animated series. Not Teen Titans, sorry, Young Justice animated series called Outsiders. That's happening as well.
What's that?
Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you? Nothing's really been released
No,
on
look,
that one yet?
They haven't really they've kind of just, the most we know about is Titans.
Yep.
And they've kind of given a little bit of information, but nothing that you can really go with and kind of, fake a story out of if you were a website that was inclined to do that.
Oh, okay.
So they haven't tried doing that yet. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Maybe if we check back in 15 minutes, we might have like 15 articles written about maybe a tweet that got seen.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the other big thing that they were talking about was Swamp Thing. So they are looking to make a live-action Swamp Thing series, like a standalone series for the streaming service specifically, with Aquaman director James Wan on board as executive producer.
Now, are they looking to do this as a live action?
Live action, yeah.
Wow.
100%.
How are they going to do that? Like, Swamp Thing is going to be a mission for the CGI graphic artists.
Oh, look, I'm really interested to see what their plans are with it.
Or do you think it's going to be a guy in a ghillie suit? And say, this is modern age Swamp Thing.
Yeah, so taking us back to I think it was the Swamp Thing movie from like the 90s or something like that. Look, as long as it's better than that, we'll be okay.
Just slightly better. I'm not picky.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, nothing more has been announced other than that. But I can tell you this, right? Well, this is just an opinion, so I can tell you it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you qualified to tell me your opinion, sir?
I think so. James Wan is actually, he's obviously a terrific kind of horror director. Okay, so his input into this kind of universe is perfect.
Absolutely.
So, it's absolutely one of the best moves they could have made. He seems to be very much on board with his whole DC career, so that's great. And it also kind of points towards good news for Aquaman so far. Which, by the way, Aquaman is still coming out this year.
Yeah. Are we ever going to see a trailer for this movie? Who knows?
Well, it's only May.
They usually release it about 6 months out.
Look, I think if they're smart, they're going to wait until Infinity War hype has died down, because they're not even going to try to bother.
And then they got to wait for the Solo hype and then the Deadpool 2.
Well, Deadpool 2 is actually first, because that got moved up, remember? So
yes, it did.
It's like the 16th of this month. And then we go to the 24th of this month for Solo. And then you got Jurassic World. There's still Mission Impossible 6. There's still so many movies coming out before we get to Aquaman. Yeah,
so many.
It's a good year. It is a good year.
Oh, I know. Now, I want to go back to the Harley Quinn kind of TV show.
Yeah.
An R-rated Harley Quinn cartoon.
Yeah.
What's going to come from that?
Well,
something very promiscuous, I feel.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Or something violent.
Probably violent.
Yeah.
I would say more violent than anything. And it depends on which, how they kind of run with it. If it's, if this is kind of like an animated series that has cameos from other characters, obviously the Joker and that sort of thing, maybe a little bit of like Gotham City Sirens action, like it could go anywhere. But I'd say you're looking at like violence, adult themes, coarse language.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Remember those? Remember like back in the day when you were a kid and they used to have those things in front of the movies on TV?
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
Do they still have those?
I think they do. Maybe on TV. I don't watch normal TV anymore.
Yeah, but it's like, like fantasy scenes. That was one that I remember seeing, like just some weird stuff that they put in there. So yeah, I reckon it'll be a little bit sexual, a little bit violent, a little bit, kind of coarse languagey, but just, I mean, it's all good, baby.
Yeah. Troy, it's been a big week for Marvel fans. We had Avengers Infinity War drop.
Yep.
And this week we also had the new Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer drop as well.
Oh, yeah. Just in case you forgot, that's also coming out pretty soon too.
Yeah, and now people are going to say, like, why do we need an Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer? Like, isn't that movie kind of redundant after Infinity War? No, you're wrong.
You are wrong. Look, it's probably, I mean, we all know this. It's probably going to be set before.
It's definitely set before.
Or parallel to the events. No, it wouldn't be parallel.
No.
It'd have to be before. Maybe they'll sync up at the end, kind of, a la The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, and Morgan's going to make a guest appearance.
Yeah, he'll be in there. He'll be at the end. Yeah, but, it's... have you seen the trailer? Like, it looks amazing.
I've seen the trailer, and this looks like a really fun time.
Yeah, because you kind of think it's like... All right, Avengers Infinity War, breaking all the records, all that sort of thing. Do you really want to, like, come after that? But remember, of course, going back into Phase 1, I think it was, or Phase 2, actually, that Ant-Man followed on from Avengers Age of Ultron. So it's doing it again.
Yeah.
It's playing the same game.
Man, it don't care about no shade. You want to know why? It's just going to shrink away from it.
Yeah, nice one. But yeah, it is. It's one of those movies that... it doesn't necessarily need to be connected to the rest. I honestly feel that somewhere towards the end it will connect.
Yeah, I have a really good theory with what happens with this one.
Is it the same as your Soul Stone theory?
Close.
Okay.
It's very close.
Yep.
And I'll talk about that when we get into our Infinity War spoilers, but let's save that for later.
Oh, okay. So what are your first thoughts about the trailer?
Yeah, look, I had no expectations for the first Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
And I went there and I had a really great time. You got Paul Rudd, and he's always great.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever really seen a Paul Rudd movie where I've come out of it and gone, he's a dickhead.
Yeah, true.
He looks great.
Some people really don't like him.
Really?
Yeah.
Those people don't like joy. I feel like Paul Rudd is just this generation's Fergie and Jesus combined.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen Hot, Wet American Summer.
Wet Hot American Summer?
Yeah, it's like a really convoluted title.
Yeah.
Like, go watch that movie and go watch the Netflix series and tell me you don't love Paul Rudd.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen it.
Haven't you?
Yeah, no.
Go watch it, mate.
I'll go check it out. Yeah, I guess for me as well, like very good, like really, really good. Like it's you're coming off this massive Infinity War high, and it's kind of, you really do have to question how is anything going to compete with that, and it's going to do it on a completely different, no pun intended, but it's going to do it on a completely different scale. Hey. So it's I don't know. It looks like a lot of fun. They're going off the whole, like, it looks like they're going off the whole heist thing again. They did say romantic comedy, then they're like, no, it's not a romantic comedy, but I think it's gonna be a bit of a romantic comedy.
It looks a bit like a romantic comedy.
I guess the only thing that, like, the biggest thing that let down Ant-Man was the villain.
Yeah.
Yellow Jacket.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he went crazy for no reason, and that was, honestly, like you said, the biggest letdown. However, we do see Ghost in this a lot more, and the power set looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does, and, they obviously talk about opening up the quantum realm and all that sort of stuff, and so I think part of your Soul Stone kind of theory was that we'd spend a lot of time in there. Right?
Yes.
Is that like, because that's where the Soul Stone was going to be, and all that sort of stuff. We didn't get that then, but I think I really think that we're going to get it coming into this. I think we'll spend a decent amount of time in the quantum realm.
Absolutely. It's actually name dropped a fair few times throughout this trailer.
Yep.
So I'm bloody excited, Troy.
I am. I think it's like even how it starts off, where kind of Scott Lang is very much aware that he's not kind of like the world's greatest hero.
Yeah.
Like, he's very self-aware that he basically fucks everything up. And it's kind of like, he's on this kind of flatbed truck and using it as kind of like a skateboard sort of thing.
Like a scooter.
Yeah, like a scooter, that's it. It
looks like me using any type of like two-wheeled mobile devices. I'm just too big for stuff like that. That's how I look.
Too big, too awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really good, and obviously, we get a lot of. Is it Bill Foster? I'm so confused. I think it's Bill Foster. Goliath, basically, is what I'm trying to say. In Lawrence Fishburne, towards the end, so we get a bit of him, and we get a bit of like back and forth in regards to like who's the biggest, and all that sort of stuff. And we see Ant-Man at like 65 feet, which is pretty amazing.
He always looks so comedic when he's large. It's like his eyes just tell this hilarious story.
Yeah, but he also does that like super goofy, like like super, So yeah, I think he plays on it really well, and I think that's kind of the charm of Paul Rudd, really.
Absolutely. And there's something I saw in this trailer that I hope they do throughout this movie is making small things big.
Yeah,
we see the Wasp throw a little salt shaker and expand it to knock a guy out.
Yep.
I just want the whole movie that.
Give us small things big, big things small. Give us all of it. Evangeline Lilly looks great.
Oh,
as
amazing.
Hope Van Dyne.
Very, very in tune with her skill set.
Yep, definitely.
Knows the suit back to front, obviously.
Obviously, kind of putting Scott Lang to shame.
Absolutely, and he kind of even says in the trailer, she's very intense, isn't she?
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it, man. Like, I think it's good. I think it is. You can easily forget about these movies come Infinity War, but you've got to remember, it's only about, I want to say about a month away. I think it's June 6th.
Oh, that's very close.
It's either June 6th or July 6th, so don't hold me to it. It's one of the two. No, it's July 6th. I just fact-checked.
You fact-checked?
Yep. So it's July 6th.
I just want to go on the record. Was that your one Google?
Well, no, it can't be class, because it's more just like looking at notes, That can't be classified as a Google.
Okay. I'll let this one slide, Troy.
Because I'm looking at you and we're having a conversation, right? And all I did is just avert my eyes to the computer real quick. Saw it right there as July 6th. That can't be classed as a Google. I still got one Google left.
Okay,
for
you got
the
one
episode.
Google.
So it comes out July 6th. So think about that. We spoke about it before. There's Deadpool 2. There's Solo. There's this in July. We've got Jurassic World. We also got a Jurassic World trailer at the start of Infinity War.
Oh my God, that kind of just spoils everything.
Yeah, so where we were anyway, and that's not to say that everybody got the same trailer, but you'd have to assume that it was probably one of the major ones that was there anyway.
You would think so.
But yeah, basically, like, it's just like, hey, here's the movie. Isn't it? It was like probably one of the most spoilery trailers I've seen in my life. So if you genuinely want to go see Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom,
don't watch this trailer.
Do not watch the latest trailer, because there are plot points that any kind of half savvy, you don't even have to be full savvy, any half savvy moviegoer can kind of point to and go, oh, well, that's that. Oh, you just fucked that scene. Oh, now we know what happens there. And it's kind of like, cool. Thanks so much.
And I swear it runs in like chronological order throughout that movie.
That's what I mean. Like it's just like here was the movie for you. Yeah. Like you basically know the entire plot for that movie, which, you know, like looking back on Ant-Man and the Wasp, don't really know too much what's going on. You know, they've gone to the quantum realm. That's kind of where Ghost has gotten the powers from. And then it's kind of like, man, what else? That's all you know. I think it's what's his name? Hank Pym. Got some stuff stolen, some tech stolen.
Maybe.
They need to steal it back, and that's why they get the old crew together with Luis, and he's back. So, yeah.
I feel like he really needs to work on his security.
Probably. Most definitely. But you know what I mean? It doesn't really give away too much.
Yeah.
Whereas Jurassic
that's what
World
you want
is
from a trailer.
Yeah. The only thing I don't know about Jurassic World is how Jeff Goldblum fits into the whole thing. Actually, I do. Look, have a watch of it if you want, and tell me what you think. How does Jeff Goldblum fit in? Because I feel like I've just like figured it all out, like the entire movie now. That was my last little missing piece.
Oh, yeah.
So now I've got the whole thing.
How does BD Wong fit in there? Boom, boom.
Yeah, he's like the Law and Order dude.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Anyway, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, that's coming too.
Know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our road to Infinity War has all been leading to this.
It's here.
It's here, the biggest event in the history of comic book cinema, 10 years in the making, Avengers Infinity War, with more hype around it than you can poke a hype stick at.
A hype stick?
Yeah.
What's a hype stick?
It's a stick that, like, it's
hypercolored.
Yeah. It's like, you know, when you put your hands on it, it changes colors.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, but it also like points out the things that have a lot of hype around them. It's a hype stick. Look it up. It's in the Urban Dictionary.
Wait, so when you point it at something, it changes color depending on the hype level?
No. Well, it changes color anyway because it's hypercolor.
Yeah.
So as soon as you put heat to it, it changes color. But when you point it at something that like has a lot of hype around it, it shakes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, back to what we're on about, which is Infinity War. So it looks set to break all sorts of box office records. But, you know, all that aside, I guess what we're here to find out is, was the hype worth it in the end?
Was 10 years of story building and world building, galaxy building, worth it in the end?
18 movies before this, leading us to this one. Was it worth it? We'll get to that pretty soon. Hey, you over there, why don't you tell the people what the movie's about?
All right, I think I can do that. The Avengers and their allies have worked to keep the Earth safe for years. But now a terrifying new danger has emerged from the cosmic shadows, Thanos. A deposit of unimaginable power and intergalactic infamy, Thanos has his mind set on one goal: collect the 6 Infinity Stones and use them to inflict his twisted will on the entire galaxy.
That was very story time of you. Very, you know, I like the ups and downs, like, you know, like you're telling a kid's story.
Ups and downs, you know, it really matches what this movie is all about.
It's Despot.
Despot?
Not deposit, though.
Well, sorry, I didn't have my glasses on and I was holding it very far away and I was like, I've set myself up for failure here.
Yeah, very much so. But look, I guess you could also say that he is a deposit of unimaginable power.
I would think so. That's where I've been putting all my unimaginable powers into Thanos.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Bitcoin.
Yeah, he's got a good return rate.
Yeah. So obviously the cast, we don't really need to go through it, but it's Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson's in this, Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Chadwick Boseman, Tom Holland, etc., 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 etc. So many goddamn people. It is very hard to name them all, basically, because there's like 100 of them.
It's impossible.
And
It's scientifically impossible to name everyone in this movie.
yeah, I think they proved that. And it's obviously directed by Joe and Anthony Russo with a runtime of 2 hours and 36 minutes. Critically, it's kind of one of these, it's 9 out of 10 on IMDb. It's 84% certified fresh, which actually ranks it as the 10th in the MCU.
Yeah, that's
Rotten
interesting.
Tomatoes. Yeah, so it's for a lot of the fanfare that this movie is getting, for it to be ranked as low as 10th in the MCU is pretty amazing. Audience score of 92%, Metacritic 66, Cinema Score A. Now let's talk about some money, dude.
Oh my goodness, this movie has made all the money in the world and then a bit more, Troy.
Yep. $250 million domestic opening weekend, which is officially the best all time. Knocked off Star Wars The Force Awakens by about $3 million.
Yeah, just scraped over, didn't it?
Just scraped over, but it did knock it off. Like, that was something that people didn't think was ever going to happen, because it took The Force Awakens as much time as it did to beat Avatar off that. So,
Yeah, and what I really liked, how humble Disney were about it, where they congratulated themselves.
Yeah, basically, kind of like Star Wars passing the baton to I think it was like someone passing a lightsaber to Iron Man.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
like, well done.
Yeah, congratulations, guys, but you own them both.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on,
a self
man.
high five right there.
Yeah, basically, and opening worldwide dollars of $630 million, which is also the best all time. Now, this movie has already cracked $850 million at the box office.
Oh,
Hasn't hit its second weekend. This movie is going to crack $1 billion in record time as well. Take that.
Is that $2 billion target going to happen, Troy? I think it will.
Look, I think it all depends on the. This is opening for. It's the widest opening of a movie as well for cinemas,
okay.
right? And it might not necessarily have like as long an opening as some others have. I guess the biggest thing is how it's going to fare over time, because it's kind of like it's to a point, and we'll talk about it more a little bit as we speak about the movie, but it's almost a little bit inaccessible to people who haven't seen everything that come before it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And that's actually going to explain a lot of the mixed reviews and scores, because, I mean, this is really a movie for the fans.
Don't get us wrong. The response has been overwhelmingly positive. It hasn't been, astronomically or anything like Black Panther styles or whatever, but it has been overwhelmingly positive for a movie that is essentially the 19th in a series. So, what do you want to do? Do you want to have a bit of a spoiler-free talk?
Yeah.
Bit of a chat.
A little chat about the movie.
Just for the people that, for some reason.
For the 3 listeners out there who haven't seen the movie and are determined to hear our non-spoiler thoughts on the movie.
Yeah.
This is for you.
Yeah, there's a few of them. There is a few of them that haven't rushed out to see it, and I don't blame them, because most times I like to wait until like the crowds die down a little bit and it's not as hectic. I did manage to see this movie twice.
Oh, really?
In the space of a week, and even on the second viewing, which was like it was like 8:00 on a Wednesday night. It was pretty random. It was quite busy in the cinema still, and that was like a week later. So I get the need to kind of stay away from people, Yeah.
That's so very social of you, Troy.
Oh, totally. So let's talk about it. So just give us your overall thoughts, I guess.
Yeah, look, this movie, you kind of go in there expecting a whole bunch of things to happen, but everything kind of happens the way you don't think it's going to.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Now see, this is weird in the sense of this. The exact same thing happened with Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Right. And everybody shat the bed.
Yeah, absolutely. And
they're just like, that's not what was supposed to happen. We didn't want that. That wasn't my theory. This, that, and the other. Infinity War does a lot of the same stuff, because we've been hearing theories and we've been theorizing ourselves for the longest time about what's going to happen and who's going to die and what's, all that sort of stuff. And, you basically, all I can say is, yeah, like you're saying, go in kind of not knowing, because you don't.
Yeah, don't even try and guess what's going to happen, because I can guarantee you're going to get it wrong.
Yeah. But how does that make you feel? Like,
It's
is that
good.
a good thing?
It's really refreshing because I mean, out of all the trailers that we've seen, it would have been very, very minimal from the movie.
Yeah.
Those trailers literally don't give anything away.
And I think it was Joe. It was either Joe or Anthony Rosso. It was one of the Rossos. There's only two of them. Came out and said that, of all the trailers and all the TV spots and everything you've seen, we've probably only given you about 5 minutes of movie.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's legit.
Yeah.
I went out there and I watched every TV spot. I was like, I'm going to spoil this fucking movie for myself. Yeah. Try as I might, I couldn't do it, Troy.
Yeah.
And that's like fantastic storytelling.
Yeah, 100%.
Fantastic trailer writing.
Definitely. Editing.
Editing.
Like trailer editing or something. Yeah, look, it's one of those things that like it is a massive spectacle, but it doesn't fall short just there. Like it's not just like this big splashy pretty thing on screen. It has a great story.
Absolutely.
It has a fantastic villain in Thanos.
Has a great narrative.
It's probably at this point in time a little bit cliched to say, but everybody does get their time to shine.
Absolutely. And that's something that's so surprising with a reported 60 characters in this movie.
Yeah, I honestly don't think
it's that many. I think
there's like 30.
Yeah, that's what I reckon.
Yeah.
They're probably counting like very, very minor characters. There was like 30 Wakandans.
Yeah, man on street.
Yeah, exactly.
Hot dog vendor.
Yeah. Stan Lee.
Yeah.
But it's each character does they have a purpose. It's very easy to go into a movie this size and come out and go, well, this person didn't do that. That person didn't do that. Why'd they even show that person?
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those movies where they manage to balance it so perfectly. And I guess like the whole thing benefits, and it's really hard to talk about without talking about spoilers. So I guess we will do you want to wrap it up there? Is there anything else you really want to kind of speak about before we kind of wrap it up and go into spoilers?
Yeah, look, 100% go out and see this movie. It's an absolute rate. Get a small drink because it is a very long movie. However, the pacing is great and you're going to blow through this movie quicker than you
blow through your pants.
Absolutely.
Once it's over.
Once it's done, good call.
Thanks, mate.
And yeah, just go in there with an open mind. Don't try guess anything because you're going to get it wrong.
I will say this, as I mentioned, like I did manage to see it twice, and we're talking about a 2.5 hour movie. I saw it twice within the space of a week. And the first time I went, I couldn't hold it. I had to pee. There was a scene that I had to pee in, and I'm like, okay, this might be good. This might be the good place to go. And came back, all good, whatever. It was fine. But the second time around, 2.5 hours, barely shifted in my seat. Like it was just dead set. I was as enthralled the second time as I was the first time. I maybe even more so, because I think the first time I went and saw it, it was just like, oh my God, I'm seeing Infinity War. I was just like,
you're caught in that moment of the hype.
Yeah.
Your hype stick was glowing and shaking all over
the place. And in the second instance, I got a real good chance to kind of sit back and start soaking things in, and some of the performances and the little nuances of the storytelling and stuff like that. So I think it really benefits from a second viewing as well, I guess is what I'm saying. So if you are listening to the non-spoiler review and you have seen it, go out and see it again. If you haven't seen it yet, don't know what you're waiting for, dude. Go check it out.
Go check it out and spend the extra money. See it in VMAX, see it in IMAX, see it in whatever Max you got.
Yeah, the biggest Max.
Ultra Max.
Yeah, see it in... Yeah, is that a thing? That's not a thing.
See it in Beta Max.
Go back in time and see this movie the way we would have seen it when we were kids in the 80s.
Spoilers, Troy.
It's all about spoilers.
Oh, boy. You got your tissues ready, mate?
Oh, boy. All right, so look. Now is the time. Check the time codes. But now is the time to back out if you have not seen this movie yet, because we're about to spoil the shit out of it. The shit out of it. Non-stop. Now, talk to me.
Okay. I want to go back to the start of the movie.
Yep.
Got our first interaction with Thanos.
Yes.
And the Black Order.
Right off the bat.
Now, is Loki dead?
Yes.
You think he's dead?
Yeah.
I think he's gone. I think he's done, mate.
Look, and we'll probably talk about this more as we go along, but there are some massive ramifications in this movie, right? And a lot of people die.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, half the universe dies.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's more than a few.
Less than
a couple.
Yeah. But look, there are some real world ramifications, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things, like one of the grievances I have with this movie is that it kind of almost null and voids a lot of what happened in Thor Ragnarok.
How so?
Well, just the fact that I guess all the stakes that were in that movie were instantly like, meh.
Well,
and that's kind of how I was already with Thor Ragnarok. And the world building for that character pays off later in this movie, but that story arc means nothing now.
Well, not necessarily, because what it effectively was him kind of like, it was the destruction of Asgard, and it was kind of him, rescuing his people and taking them somewhere else. That's an age-old story. That's like a Jesus story, basically.
Absolutely.
But one of the Russos, again, actually, I'm not sure if it was a Russo or if it was one of the executive producers. I think it was either Anthony or Joe Russo.
I thought it was Kevin Feige that came out and said what you're about to say.
Oh, maybe it was Kevin Feige. But one of them came out and said that, yes, in fact, there were quite a few Asgardians that survived.
Yeah.
Including Valkyrie, et cetera, et cetera. We're assuming that they got out in some like escape craft before it happened because, they do have enough time to put out a distress signal and all that sort of stuff. So you can, basically when they're being fired on, you can assume that they're going to like jettison some craft and try to save as many people as they can. You can assume that she was kind of like the leader of that, kind of, protecting those people.
And that's a storyline I could believe.
Yeah.
It would have just been good to see that.
Well, maybe, but I think that we'll get that payoff in Avengers 4. I honestly believe that will come back around at some point.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think you can leave a character as powerful as Valkyrie out of this.
Yeah.
If you've got a character as underpowered as Black Widow, who seems to be one of the most powered of them all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's yeah, it's kind of it's a bit shit that we didn't get to see it, but I do appreciate the fact that they have come out and said that, hey, all's good. She's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about Hulk, because we get very little Hulk in this movie, and it kind of happens because of what happens at the start of this movie.
Yeah.
He kind of goes toe-to-toe with Thanos, where Thanos seems to kind of easily overpower the Hulk.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're talking about Thanos that has, at least one Infinity Stone,
yes.
right? And he's got a magical gauntlet powerful enough to hold it. Whether that grants him any powers, I don't think it does. But it's going to hurt when he punches you with it.
Surely.
Like, imagine, like, I'm a pretty average puncher.
It's
I would say
ultimate
maybe,
knuckle bucket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So imagine I punched you in the face with a metal glove.
Well, a big metal glove. Yeah, that would hurt a lot.
It's going to hurt.
I would cry.
So it's not just the Hulk versus Thanos. It's the Hulk versus Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet with a stone. But he definitely does. He beats the pants off him, basically.
He does.
Yeah. And you're right. It kind of gives him this whole, like, I don't know. It's just he refuses to take part for what is effectively the rest of the movie.
anxiety, Troy.
He does. And it was like it was played to pretty good comedic effect throughout the movie, especially with the interactions between Tony Stark and Bruce Banner. I don't know. I would have preferred for him to have come out in the end, because at some point it's like, and I know they're probably saving it for Avengers 4, right? And that's fine. But I think at some point it's kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like selfish for the character.
Oh, 100%. Like, we get such a great Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, like game-changing Hulk. And for that character to just be like taken away from me as a moviegoer, I was a little bit disappointed in that, because like Bruce Banner's cool, like Bruce Banner does Bruce Banner things.
Yeah.
I ain't going to see Bruce Banner.
Yeah, no one's going to a movie to see Mark Ruffalo.
Hell no.
But I guess, like, it does make sense then to the character to be on this planet and to be the the champion of Sakaar and undefeated in the ring or the gladiator arena or whatever you want to call it. To go from that to to jumping into battle against Surtur, and effectively like getting the crap kicked out of you it'd kind of be like, you know what, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm out. I thought I was really good.
But I came to a new gym, and there's a much bigger, stronger guy.
There's a much bigger, stronger. So I just quit now.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah. But let's talk about that first scene for a bit, because we get a couple of and this is what Kevin Feige was saying, that, you know, you are going to understand how terrifying Thanos is within the first 5 minutes of this movie. And it's absolutely true, because he basically just lays waste to the Hulk, who is only saved by Heimdall opening up the Bifrost. Heimdall gets killed.
Gone.
See you later, Idris Elba, no longer in the MCU. And then, you know, Loki in such a really good scene for that character, because you think at any point he's just going to turn, and he doesn't. He never does. And then the actual brutality of his murder is it's kind of confronting a little bit.
Absolutely. It is probably the most gruesome death that we've seen in the MCU.
100%.
Like, it looks like his life was like sucked out of him.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like a spider bite, Troy, and it's just sucked all that fluid out of him. He's done.
What spider does that?
I think all spiders.
What
do
spiders
that.
are you hanging out with?
All spiders do that.
They just suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
The fluid.
Yeah.
They just eat your body.
Yeah.
That's
You can use your one Google on this.
I'm not going to.
I'm saving it. You know,
I'm
you
gonna
don't
save
you don't get to carry your Googles over.
No, but I might save that one for like later.
Oh, okay.
Because I want to get deep into that one.
I want to talk about Doctor Strange. I felt like he was probably the MVP of this movie.
You think so?
I really do, because a lot of people probably will say other people are. We'll get to that. But I really thought Doctor Strange is on another level now.
Yeah.
He's really mastered his craft.
Yeah.
And,
Well, you would hope so.
And you would think so. And I mean, yeah, he has this time stone. And there's been rumors that, you know, maybe he was stuck in his time loop for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So this is why he seems to be so much more compliant with, I guess, his magical skills.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of talk, and there has been a lot of talk about the MCU timeline for like a long time. So you don't necessarily know how long it has been. You can tell from some interactions between characters. There's an interaction between Rhodey and Cap, where, you know, he's kind of like, how have the last couple of years been?
Yeah.
And so you know that the fallout from Civil War to now has at least been 2 years. But we don't know what else fits within that, you know, along the way, like where Black Panther sits, or Spider-Man Homecoming, or Thor Ragnarok, or anything like that. So it's still a little bit, we're unsure of it. So we don't really know where Doctor Strange was and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, he could have just had 2 years of practice.
He could have.
And been really good, because he was obviously, you know, kind of a bit of a...
bit of a whiz at being a wizard.
A bit of a magic savant kind of thing. So yeah,
he's got the touch, Troy.
But he was good, and I really liked that we got to see a lot more of his powers as well.
Yeah,
quite
absolutely.
a few really cool things that he did.
A lot of trippy things that he can do.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the Black Order, because we kind of skipped over that, and they do play. I won't say a major part. They do play a part.
One person plays a part.
They all do, sort of, in their own special way.
Look,
who plays the biggest part in your mind?
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it is the one that takes Doctor Strange as prisoner. Squidward.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I feel like this is the Marvel's universe version of Voldemort. He looks like him a bit.
Well, funny you say that, because I read a little fact that in the French dubbing of Avengers Infinity War, where Tony Stark calls his Ebony Maw, but where Tony Stark calls him Squidward, in the French dubbing, he actually calls him Voldemort, because it's more recognizable to French audiences.
Ah.
So there you go.
There you go.
Spot on, champ.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, that guy was genuinely terrifying. I would say he was probably as badass as what Thanos was.
Almost, yeah. Like his powers were incredible.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of dispatched a little bit easily on the spaceship. It was kind of a little bit disappointing.
Very much Aliens, isn't it? And like, yeah, I know it's a pun. We got Peter Parker saying, do the Aliens thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like he could have survived that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's cool. It is what it is. They weren't the main characters. This was Thanos' movie. This was all about Thanos. It was always going to be about Thanos. So that's fine. I get it. But just talking about the Black Order briefly, we'll sum them all up. Ebony Maw was probably the MVP of them.
Definitely.
You had Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive as the two kind of together. They were together the whole time, pretty much.
The big letdowns.
Yeah, they were.
Look,
Proxima Midnight.
If you cannot beat Black Widow in a fight
If you are
with a stick,
if you're part of the Black Order, and you legit can't beat a Russian spy, then
I think you've lied on your resume, mate.
you got called out. You basically just got called out for lying on your resume. And Corvus Glaive as well obviously didn't do too much other than stab Vision a couple of times with his scepter. And then, of course, we had the other guy. What's his name?
The Hulk version of the Black Order.
Oh, that's very nice. This is going to be the thing. This is going to be the thing. Who have I said? I said Proxima Midnight, Ebony Maw, Corvus Glaive, and
Hulk 2.0.
Steve,
yeah.
I will. I'm going to use my one Google for that because I should 100% know that, and I'll come back to it. But that was kind of that character. We should have seen him go head to head with the Hulk at some point.
Absolutely, and that's what I wanted from this movie because those two would have been on a pretty similar power level.
Oh, definitely. And
everything that's kind of like led up in the promo art and stuff like that, I believe was like leading to those two having a head to head.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of, that's how they got us. Like it was the whole, the Hulk was in the trailers.
He was.
And they kind of did that, I think, to basically just fuck with us. I honestly think it wasn't for much more than just to kind of like throw us that and go, haha,
gotcha.
Fooled ya. And
I actually saw a tweet out there this week that says Marvel straight up lie in 50% of their trailers. And it's like, you know what? They're not wrong.
Yeah.
They're not wrong. But it's good because I go into these movies and I'm like, hey, these tricky bastards got me.
Yeah, true. Big boy Steve.
Yes.
Cull Obsidian. I should have known that.
Yeah, you should have, Troy.
Yeah, anyway. My bad.
You're bad.
My bad,
indeed.
you guys. Thanos, man.
Thanos, man. Now this is a great character in the MCU. This is probably easily the best villain in my opinion of the MCU.
100%.
He's got this kind of tortured past to him, and he's definitely a tortured soul. He sick in the head, 100%.
Well, yeah,
but he wouldn't be a villain without that. But he's for I guess a Mad Titan. He's very humanized in this movie.
Well, he wasn't very mad, was he?
No, I think he was very sad. The sad Titan.
He was more like the sad Titan. He seemed very clear in what he wanted to achieve. Like there was nothing mad about it.
Level-headed.
A very level-headed. The level-headed Titan, we'll call him. And this is similar to what we were talking about with Black Panther and Killmonger and stuff like that, but on a much bigger scale. This is also a character whose motivations you can kind of side with.
Absolutely. He's not like super crazy. He explains it. It's like he doesn't Yellow Jacket up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not okay. Again, the method is not what you would do, but there is some sort of there's something that can be kind of, I guess, like you can understand behind it all. The whole kind of like overpopulation of the Earth and the depletion of its sources
of the universe.
Of the universe.
The universe is finite
resources, for sure.
Now I have a question. Cool, Thanos. That's a great point you make.
Yep.
But you've got this glove that can change reality and like literally change everything.
Yeah.
Why don't you just like make the universe double?
Well, A,
he didn't think of that.
Yeah. B, where were you? Like, why weren't you there fucking telling him?
Well, I guess that's my bad.
You know what I mean? Like, you think, C, who are you? Like, you can't just like start making like, making decisions like this. You're not president.
You can't make super logical decisions like that, Cade. What gives you that right?
You don't get to do that. I would question whether the glove could actually do that.
Yeah, and that's interesting. We actually see the glove may not be as powerful as what it seems.
Yeah. It's which I think is good because it's kind of like, you kind of, I guess if you think about comics and stuff like that, like realistically, Thanos with the 6 stones should be unstoppable.
100%.
Now, he could have effectively have been killing characters left, right, and center, like with a snap of his finger.
It's like, boom, you're gone.
Yeah, you're gone. Why are you running at me? You're gone. You hit me with that stick, you're gone.
You're looking at me funny? Guess what? You're all right.
You're all right. You
didn't mean that.
Yeah,
I am a big purple guy with a ballsack chin.
Yeah, you got moxie, kid. I appreciate that.
You want to join my crew?
You don't? You're gone. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like he could make those decisions, but he kind of doesn't. And I think they kind of underpowered the glove a little bit and
Definitely.
the stone. So I think that was really good. Some of the uses of the power though were fantastic. And I think probably the best is where we go to the collector's realm.
Very nice.
Yeah. So how that was portrayed.
And that's how I want to see the reality gem actually utilized, because I was going to be a little bit disappointed if I came out of this movie and I didn't see some weird, funky shit like that.
Yeah. I think it was pretty cool. Now, I will throw this at you. This is not, I'm not throwing a question at you. I'm throwing a fact.
Ooh.
Now, there is that whole scene in Nowhere where they're looking for the reality gem. And before they actually realize that everything is a lie, as they're entering, so as the Guardians are entering, you've got Peter Quill, Gamora, Mantis, Drax. They're coming in. There's a scene where you can sort of see Gamora front on, and if you're looking directly at her, to the top left of her corner is Tobias Funke from Arrested Development.
Yeah.
So as the Blue Man, and in his jean shorts as one of the collector's prizes.
I heard they couldn't get him there in time to shoot the scene.
No, they got it.
That's amazing.
It's 100% definitely there.
And Troy, can you let the people know why he would be there?
No.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, you tell me.
The Russo brothers directed many, many episodes of Arrested Development.
Of course, yeah. I thought you meant why he would be put in a position where it'd end up with the collector. Yeah, of course. They did a lot on Arrested Development and Community as well.
And this isn't the first time we've actually had an Arrested Development cameo.
No.
In a Marvel movie. In Civil War, we did see the staircase vehicle.
Yep.
At the airport.
It's so good.
So good.
So yeah, so that whole scene anyway in itself was brilliant. Which brings us to the relationship of Gamora and Thanos, which is really kind of like a driving point for nothing more than the Soul Stone. But I think what we got out of that was some incredible scenes, especially from Zoe Saldana and even Josh Brolin in mocap, for sure.
Absolutely. And it really kind of strengthens this relationship that Peter Quill and Gamora have, which I'm going to say isn't always portrayed very well in the Guardians movies, because it's kind of like it's like there's tension there, but it's not a thing. But is it a thing?
Well, I am 100% under the assumption that in Guardians 2, they got it on.
You think?
I'm sure they kissed. They kissed on his home world. I swear they did.
I thought they were almost going to, and then something happens.
Nah, look, I'm pretty sure they got it on. And we don't know how much time again between the two. So they had more time to sort their shit out. It was always, from Guardians 1 though, there was that. So it's believable enough in the sense of, we know it's been happening since pretty much the first time they met. So, X amount of years later, you can kind of assume that would happen. Now,
Troy, we're kind of missing a major thing that we're talking about the Guardians.
Yep.
Thor's interaction with the Guardians.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So good. Yeah, the whole back and forth between Thor and Peter Quill was pretty great. I think they kind of it was almost to the point where I really thought they were going to underplay Peter Quill as a character.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got to the scene on I think it was on Titan, where he effectively, before he knows, who Iron Man and all that sort of stuff are, he takes on almost single-handedly Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange.
Absolutely. The guy can hold himself.
The guy can definitely hold himself.
And which is never really shown in those Guardians movies, because he's always the goof.
Yeah.
The goof that has a little bit going for him.
He's always like, but he always had his little like tricks and stuff like
Yeah.
that to get him out of situations. And yeah, that was a really great scene for him in the sense like, he has another scene that fucks it up later, but it was a really great scene in him for the sense of like, it actually showed that, yeah, like Peter Quill, Star-Lord can actually hold his own against Iron Man. Like we're talking about some powerful characters, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange.
Indeed.
Yes, but going back to that, the whole back and forth between them was great. Obviously Rocket and Groot go on their little adventure to get Stormbreaker, the new hammer.
Peter Dinklage, what do you think? What do you think of this? It's not a... Like, you know how there's gender swapping? What's this? What's this? Making a giant dwarf. Like, come on.
It was pretty good. And I think it was pretty good of Peter Dinklage to go, you know what? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like, let's do that. Let's make me a dwarf, but a fucking massive one.
Do you think he knew he was going to be massive?
Had to have been. There is no way they would have gone to him, hey, dude, we just want you to play a dwarf. Because he'd be like, you know what? Why the fuck would I want to be in a Marvel movie just playing a dwarf? Like, that's not fair. And then they're make me a fucking 20-foot dwarf.
Yeah.
And I'll do it.
With metal hands.
With metal hands. And a big old... forge is what I was going to say. Yeah. And a big old forge. To make hammers with. You know?
Yeah.
That's where I was going with
Wow. Clear. Very clear.
But yeah, I thought that was great. I thought it was, I guess you could call that a cameo, but I thought that was really good. And let's talk about Thor for a second, because he had probably one of the best arcs in this, and kind of like this would be the redemption for all the people who kind of like hated on the character in Thor Ragnarok.
Then that was me.
Well, then did it work for you?
Oh, mate, I came out here with a Thor boner.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I was just like, I'm on Team Thor.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Damn.
1,000%.
That's a lot of percent.
Yeah, I mean, Thor is like genuinely game-changing in this movie.
Yep.
It's almost like he has the Odin Force with him now.
Yeah. Okay.
Like he is like genuinely overpowered.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Because we get to the point where, you know, he finally gets Stormbreaker, or the Thanos killer, and goes back to Wakanda where the big final kind of battle is set, and just fucks shit up.
Oh man, he just comes in there and he owns it.
Because they were kind of like, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna win this, dude. And then out of nowhere, Thor comes in and is just like, fuck all y'all.
Yeah.
The only question I have, right now, I understand that at some point they said that Stormbreaker could potentially summon the Bifrost, right? Which is fine. That's 100% cool.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to Earth. But why Wakanda specifically?
Oh, yes.
Because that would be a little bit of beef for me.
Yeah. How do you actually get through the shields? Because it was only opened in...
Bifrost, man.
Oh.
Like you think Wakandan technology is going to be better than Norse fucking rainbow bridges?
Good call.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a rainbow shield, is it? It's just a blue shield.
Well, the Bifrost can send you anywhere in the universe. I'm pretty sure it can send you through a shield.
Okay.
So that's fine.
But
how did he know shit was in Wakanda?
Maybe he has the ability to see the souls like Heimdall did.
Fine. Like, I'll buy that.
And that's the only way it's explained.
Well, they didn't mention it.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, then that's fine.
I'll believe that.
I'll believe that for sure.
You know what I don't believe, though?
What?
Thor taking on the full power of a sun and not losing any clothes or anything like that.
Well, you gotta... It's like his clothes are enchanted. Like, he doesn't just wear bonds.
I don't know.
Or like, you know, it's not even as good as Under Armour.
I feel like they miss out on an opportunity for a cheap laugh to show Thor's butt.
Isn't that a bit like, you know?
They showed
like
Hulk's...
cheeky?
Hey, too cheeky. They showed Hulk's butt in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, but how many butts do you need to see in the MCU?
2.
Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Give us all 3 Chris butts.
I want a butt off.
Before that gets too weird. Look, I can buy into it because, you know, like Thor is, you know, he is where he is right now. He is very powered, very overpowered, but he's also incredibly driven through the events that have preceded this. So, I'm
starting to believe that Thor is now solar powered.
He is.
He's this Marvel's Superman.
He's like a Ream hot water system.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Now, we have to come back to Thanos because we haven't spoken about Thanos enough.
Okay.
So I think we definitely need to come back to Thanos. What about Tony Stark? Tom Holland? Peter Parker? What do you think?
Good grouping.
Yeah.
Really good grouping.
Yep.
We got our, what do you call those, goatee bros going on?
Yeah.
I would have loved for, like, Peter Parker to draw himself on a little goatee.
Yeah.
Like another missed opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting way that he's kind of got his new suit, like it's all nanotech.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. Explains why he has got the little chest plate.
Yeah.
I love the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah.
It has the legs, Troy.
Oh, it has the
It
legs.
has the legs, and I was, oh, mate. This movie's just delivering on everything that I wanted.
Pretty much. And I think you're right. Like, I think it benefited from the groupings that they had. So, you know, how you have Tony Stark and Peter Parker who already have a developed relationship. And then they kind of jump in with Doctor Strange. And then, you know, Doctor Strange and Tony Stark are butting heads the whole time, which I thought was great. Like, their back and forth a lot of the time was good. I will say this about, like, Tony Stark and Iron Man. This is probably the least I've been annoyed with Iron Man in a movie since Iron Man, probably.
Oh, wow.
Well,
he's not arrogant in this.
Well, he is still arrogant, but like he's driven and he understands that, you know, like
Everything's been building to this.
yeah, and it's like because he's had like he says he's had 6 years of nightmares of this happening from the events of Avengers. Like, so, you know, nobody is as close to it as he is.
Absolutely.
But I think it's more the way they portrayed the character rather than, you know, it's just, hey, let's throw Iron Man in a movie because, you know, we want it to make more money. This is definitely this movie revolves around this guy.
Absolutely.
Like he is a key integral point, not just because it's Robert Downey Jr. and it's, you know, his portrayal of Tony Stark and everyone loves it. It's the fact that it is actually a key member.
Definitely. And I mean, he says a line to Thanos, "You've been in my head for 6 years." And Thanos says, "Yeah, mate, you've been in mine too."
Yeah, because he's like, you know, like Thanos addresses him as Stark.
Yeah.
And Stark's like, "You know me?" He's like, "Yeah. You're not the only one that has nightmares or memories." He doesn't say nightmares, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was really good. Like the connection finally, you know, come true for those. Now, let's go back to Thanos because he succeeds.
Yeah. Well, let's take it a step back. Thanos has to kill Gamora.
Oh yeah, we brushed over that. I totally forgot.
Yeah.
So this is, hey, where was the Soul Stone, buddy?
The Soul
You didn't fucking know.
Nobody knew. Can you even name the place, Troy? I know
Vormir.
you did Google it.
Well, I have seen it twice. It's Vormir. Where is that? Who the fuck knows? But that's where the Soul Stone is, and the Red Skull.
Who called the Red Skull being death? This guy right here.
You didn't.
I did.
In a very, very roundabout sort of way, you did.
I said the exact words, "I bet you Red Skull is death." And then I did proceed to say that Thanos will fall in love with Red Skull, but, you know, part 2 has not come out.
All right, I will give you that. He's not really death, but he is the protector of the Soul Stone, as it were.
And you kind of have to kill someone to get the Soul Stone. So, to me, that's this universe's death.
Sure. Yeah, but that's fine. Good on him for being back. Like, I always wanted Red Skull to come back. Probably wanted him in a bit more of a bigger capacity than that. But fine. Wasn't Hugo Weaving. That's fine. It was old mate from The Walking Dead. You know, I don't know what his name is on the show. It's Ross Marquand.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Old mate.
Oh, mate.
He went and got the fish ladies to come back and fight in the war. So this was a really, really, like, this was one of my favorite scenes. I said this in the instant reaction as well. Watching it on the second go, still one of my favorite scenes.
Did you tear up like Thanos? Did you get big, dirty purple tears?
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah. I did. I'm not going to lie. Shit got real.
Wow.
Yeah. Because, you know, I wanted my own Soul Stone, you know? And it's like...
I guess we all found our own Soul Stone
We
in that
did.
moment.
The Soul Stone was within us.
Yeah, it was.
But, you know, it's just... I think the way, like, you've got this giant CGI character, right? And at no point would I have ever thought that I could have been, like, even slightly emotionally moved by a character like that. And especially when the last kind of thing that we had that was similar was Steppenwolf in Justice League.
Yeah.
And I do not want to start, drawing comparisons and shit like that. It's not a Infinity War is better than Justice League or anything like that, but it was. But there is a massive difference in quality between what they managed to do with Steppenwolf and what they managed to do with Thanos. And the fact that they can bring a wide range of emotions out of that motion capture performance from Josh Brolin is testament to like the directors and the CGI guys and all that, but also real testament to Josh Brolin and his ability to sell it. And obviously Zoe Saldana as well as Gamora, because that was the whole thing. You fucked up, you stuffed up, you don't love anything. And it's like, he was crying and shit.
He's like, stupid bitch, I love you.
Yeah, now you're dead.
Yeah.
Like, throw you in a thing. Now, there is a theory going around that that's where everyone's going to end up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So all the people that kind of, died at the end, as it were, which we'll get to, but all the people that died in the end are probably going to end up in Vormir, similar to the Red Skull. But that's not necessarily true.
It's going to be a very crowded little peak.
Yeah, and it's going to all kind of come down to the Soul Stone to bring them back.
Well, it has been rumored the Soul Stone is the most powerful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it looks like it. It was the fucking hardest to get.
Was it?
It was, because no one knew where it was except Gamora.
Well, I don't think that makes it the hardest to get. It's
No,
just
it
the
makes
least
it-
accessible.
No, it makes it the hardest to get because A, no one knows where the fuck it is. And B, even when you do find it, you got to kill someone that you love to get it. That's not good. You know what I mean? So it's not like, you can't just be a bad dude and just go throw anyone over the cliff and go, hey, give me the Soul Stone. You need to genuinely
Make a
love...
sacrifice.
And make
there.
a sacrifice to be able to get the Soul Stone, because the Soul Stone knows.
Oh,
It knows.
that's a t-shirt right there.
The Soul Stone knows. So anyway, I really did enjoy that scene.
All right, let's move on to the final battle at Wakanda.
Okay.
Yeah. Holy.
That was a big battle.
That was a big battle, man.
I was worried at times. I was worried at times it was going to become this kind of like, this massive CGI fest and stuff like that.
Pixels flying everywhere.
Yeah, but they did amazingly well with the scope of it. I think the most important thing though is, we haven't even spoken about Vision, by the way.
Does much really need to be said by that? Like, Vision, bench that boy.
Well, he's benched.
Oh yeah,
He benched for life.
He'll come back to life. He's a bloody robot, mate. They'll reboot him.
Well, I think the essence of Vision is dead.
Yeah,
ultimately.
good.
But anyway, I mean, we don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so all it comes down to is that basically there's one stone left, and it's the Mind Stone, and that's basically what they're trying to protect. And they go to Wakanda because Wakanda is the best place for him to be. And yeah, we end up with this big sort of epic battle, which can happen in so many movies of this kind of nature. It can kind of fall into just a CGI fest, and it didn't. And they kept it really grounded by having these kind of like little battles here and there, and you're kind of seeing Cap with Black Panther, and then you're seeing kind of like Okoye with Black Widow, and they're fighting Proxima Midnight, and this, that, and the other. So it was good in that sense.
Yeah.
Do you disagree?
No, I agree. I had one issue though with this big battle. Actually, it's kind of this, and it's going to be a weird issue, is that it seemed like all of our characters were tremendously overpowered in this movie. It's like they've been almost holding back in everything else.
So who?
Everyone. Like Scarlet Witch, insanely powerful.
But she is insanely powerful.
Oh, she is insanely powerful, but it's kind of like, I'll believe that she's been training.
No, but see, I think hers is very like emotionally driven.
That's fair.
So, and I think you kind of like, there are some moments in Age of Ultron where you kind of see it a little bit, where she kind of like snaps, and even you don't really see it in Civil War because there's no one for her to snap against, apart from probably the time that she snaps against Vision.
Yeah.
So she is already immensely powerful, and she can't necessarily control it.
True.
So a lot of her shit comes out of like just pure rage and frustration and sadness and all that sort of stuff. And see, when she finally does come to the battlefield, she just fucks shit up. And I believe it from that character. I still have a really hard time understanding how Black Widow holds her own.
Well, that's more so what I'm talking about. That and how Captain America seems to...
Nah.
No, Troy. You can't say that when you've got Thanos who can beat down the Hulk.
Yeah.
But then he's kind of held up a bit.
Well, I don't think he is.
You don't... Okay, the trailer looked like he was struggling, and when you see the movie, he is struggling, Troy.
Cap is struggling.
They're both struggling.
I think it's kind of like a, it's kind of like a look of, I'm just going to crush this dude. It's fine. And then it's kind of like a, holy fuck. Like, this dude is actually strong. He's got some will. He is like just a man who is standing in front. It's almost like admiration more than like kind of, oh shit, I can't actually kill him.
I think Thanos doesn't care for this guy at all.
No, but Thanos, the type of villain that he is, like when we first see him kind of like find Gamora as a child, he compliments her on being like a an amazing like fighter, essentially thing. Like she's a fighter or a survivor or something like that. Like I think there's that respect within him, and he can kind of see it. And I think in a different universe, or like in a different situation, he might actually have admiration for Captain America, right?
Maybe.
So I think this is kind of like it's kind of like I'm just going to swat this little ant away, and it's kind of like, fuck, holy shit.
It's like when you step on
Look at his fucking beard.
Those big ants.
Yeah.
And like they bite you and it's no good.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have a bad day.
And then what happens? What happens straight after that? He kind of just goes, you know what, fuck it. And he punches him and knocks him out cold.
Straight up.
So, with his non-gloved hand. So, do you know what I mean? So I don't think it was necessarily that they made Cap too overpowered. I think that's just his kind of will and determination. He's like, I'm never going to shy from a fight.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all I see is just a little bit of admiration from Thanos.
Hey, can you do it all day now, Cap?
Can you? No, because you're out cold.
You're done, mate.
Yeah, so, I guess we're going to talk a little bit about Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster suit, because that's kind of the only way he gets in on the action.
Very disappointed. Very bad CGI with the head. I did not enjoy that.
That bit where the helmet pops off. Yeah.
It looked like it was Photoshop cut out and put on there, and I was like, oh man, that's where they didn't spend the budget.
That's their mustache.
Yeah, that is their mustache.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, there's one thing we haven't talked about, Troy, and I'm glad we've saved it for the end.
Yep.
Peter Quill.
Star-Lord.
Star Dickhead.
Star Dick. Look, so basically what, we're talking about the scene on Titan where they finally devise a plan and Doctor Strange just sat there and he's like, there's 14 million possibilities. We only win one. They come up with this genius plan, and it all seems to be working absolutely perfectly. They've knocked it out the park. Everybody's played their parts perfectly. And then Peter Quill comes along and he's like, hey, where's Gamora? And then he kind of realizes that Gamora's not coming back and he's dead.
Yeah.
My issue with this scene is that, I get it, and it does ring true to the character of Peter Quill. Brash.
Yeah.
Kind of fly by the seat of your pants.
Reckless.
Kind of, run on emotion.
Very emotive.
Yep. What doesn't make sense, though, is why he's just not stopped.
Yeah.
By
anyone.
Iron Man. Anyone, really. You know what I mean? Thanos, Drax is kind of just holding the leg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's doing nothing.
Yeah. And, Iron Man, to a point, stops pulling on the gauntlet to kind of talk to him and go, hey, man, just stop. Just calm down. Don't do this. And he can't, I feel like if you look at Civil War, right? When Vision shoots Rhodey out of the sky.
Yeah.
And then Falcon lands and he's like, I'm sorry, or whatever. And Tony Stark just hits him with a repulsor ray, straight up. Just knocks him off. Yeah.
Where's that?
Are you telling me that is not his instant reaction in this situation?
And I tell you what, this is the part of the movie that probably caused the most stir apart from the very final scene.
Okay.
With everyone. It's just like, oh my God, you can see the glove is like almost off the hand. You can see there's a gap happening between hand and glove, Troy.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
Yeah.
Look, I was furious, mate.
Well, I get why it happens to further the story along.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I understand that, and that's fine. It doesn't make sense in the character of, say, Tony Stark to not just fuck him off.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? To not just hit him with something. To just go, like, get out of the way. We've got this. You're not helping. You're not pulling on the glove. You're not, like, keeping him under, like, a sleep spell or whatever fucking Mantis does. But do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's for the sake of the plot.
Yeah.
Only.
And look, if you're going to go out there, oh man, you should see the hate that is on Chris Pratt's Instagram at the moment.
Well, that's stupid.
And, it is silly. But if we're going to be angry at anyone, let's be angry at Doctor Strange. Now, not for the reason that he gave up the time stone, because to me, it's quite evident that he saw 14 million different possibilities.
Yeah.
This is the one that's going to win.
Yeah. Letting him win is the one that leads to them winning.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. Everything's going to be rectified next movie. Well, maybe not everything, but enough to make it so the heroes win. But Doctor Strange has the ability to create these little portals. And we actually see this done basically in our first scene of the movie. Our first confrontation, is Doctor Strange and Wong are making these little portals and they're going through it. And Hulk 2.0 loses an arm.
Yeah,
because he's
Cull Obsidian. Sorry.
Loses an arm because a portal closes around it.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a missed opportunity for Doctor Strange to create a little portal around Thanos' arm to remove it.
Well, I don't know if that's how they work.
I don't know. He's
you know
pretty
what I mean?
handy.
Like, yeah. I don't think that's how they work, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I understand it. But there are a lot of different ways that could have gone.
100%. 14 million other ways, sure.
Well, yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's the one they went with, and that's fine. And look, you tell me a movie that at some point doesn't do something that's a little bit irritating.
Well, it's the thing
it's
that's
almost impossible.
Yeah, exactly. It's the thing that's going to drive you towards the end.
Yeah. So it's like it's a nitpick, if I am picking on things that are a little bit kind of like, hey, maybe the movie wasn't perfect. Maybe there were a couple of things that, that they did wrong. That would be one of them to me. You know what I mean?
Fair call.
But honestly, if you're on the internet hating on Chris Pratt right now, fucking stop it, dude. Just calm down. Now let's talk about the ending. Let's get into it. Let's wrap it up. We've been talking about this for nearly an hour. So Thanos wins.
He wins, baby.
So his whole goal was to basically cleanse the universe of half its population, and when he did, he was going to retire somewhere and watch a sunset and just chill out.
He's in Bali or Thailand.
Yeah, it's definitely Thailand.
It's Thailand.
Yeah, and he does it, and more power to them for hitting us with that ending, because it was fantastic. It was kind of very unexpected. Like, I would have thought at any point now, are they going to stop him, or it's going to get to this, and then they're going to something's going to happen and they'll reverse it, etc., etc. No, nothing. Like, he genuinely wins and wipes out half of the universe's population.
And what a twist when you kind of get Thor jumping through right at that last moment, having that ultimate win against Thanos.
Yeah,
and it's just like, you should have went for the arm, buddy.
For the head.
Oh, was it the head?
Yeah,
go for the head.
Yeah, and that's good, because you see Thor come out of nowhere. Like, Thanos is finally victorious. He's like, ha, ha, ha. And you see Thor come out of nowhere, and he hits him with the axe, and you're like, fuck off. Like, that can't be the end. Like, if that's how they fucking finish it, and they don't. And they do push it to the next level, which I fucking absolutely loved, right? And you kind of left there thinking, like, holy shit, did they just actually do that? Like, is this a Marvel movie, and they literally just wiped out half of the universe's population? My problem, though, and I know a lot of people are going to have the same sort of issues, and I have faith that the directors giving us what they've given us in Infinity War have it all thought out for Avengers 4.
Oh, of course,
right?
they will.
So, and then they're basically going to continue to push these boundaries and stuff. I just think they kind of oversold their hand with a lot of the people they got rid of.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? To the point where it's not believable for a second that those things are going to last eternal.
I know, and that's kind of where I had my instant reaction, where I was like, the stakes aren't there now.
Yeah.
Like, they got rid of Spider-Man, who had like a 20-minute exit in this movie to, really push that home.
Oh, that was good. And improvised. Did you know that?
Yeah, apparently. I don't believe it. But
that was such a that was like probably one of the best of the scenes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
it was good. I'll give it credit. We lose Black Panther.
Yeah, not happening.
We lose Bucky Barnes, who signed on for another 19,000 movies.
Yeah. We lose every single Guardian of the Galaxy except Rocket and Nebula.
Who are signed on for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of 3. Freaking Chris Pratt was just on the internet saying, hey, Guardians 3 starts filming soon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that they're coming back.
Absolutely.
But how will they come back?
And you know what? The interesting thing is to diehard fans like you and I, Troy, and the people who listen to this podcast, we're like, look, we're not fucking idiots.
Yeah.
But to the general public, they're genuinely shocked.
Yeah.
I had to talk to a couple of girls at work this week, and they're like, they killed Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They killed them. They killed that. I'm like, no, they fucking didn't.
Hey, don't ruin it for them.
I know. I was like, oh, they'll be back.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Everything's okay. I just wish they had have played it slightly different.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more believable. So rather than having like such major characters, so basically all you're left with is kind of the original Avengers, basically, with a couple of like side characters. Kill off a major. Kill off a couple of majors. You know what I mean? Kill off a Thor. Kill off like a Cap or an Iron Man or something. Make it so it's kind of like, oh, holy shit, like we know they're not coming back probably, or they're close to done.
I want doubt cast upon me.
Yeah. So I my only hope is that they do the right thing come Avengers 4 and the stakes continue to matter.
Yeah.
So while maybe they won't all come back, or maybe they can't come back to this particular universe or something. I don't know, like however they want to do it, but I guess the biggest thing, and I said this in the instant reaction as well, all the deaths before that need to matter.
Yeah, 100%.
So every single death leading up to that,
pre-click
has to mean something.
Yeah.
So we're talking Vision, Heimdall, Loki, Gamora. If those characters don't stay dead, then I'm sorry, but
it means nothing.
It means nothing. And I would really hate for them to have given us what they've given us, which is like a fucking fantastic movie on a grand scale, to then turn around and go, none of it mattered.
Yeah.
Because that's really going to affect how you feel about this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if you see Avengers 4 and everyone's just alive by the end of it, are you going to go back and watch Infinity War?
Hell no.
Like, why would you? So hopefully they do the right thing anyway. But I trust in them based on what they've given us for this, and the fact that they filmed them back to back and they were written at the same time. And like, I think they really kind of, they've got a plan.
They do.
Yeah. Hit, split, or shit?
Oh, mate, it's a hit. It's a hit. 100%.
Yeah. Same for me. Like I said, twice in a week. I could go see it a third time tonight, and I wouldn't flinch.
Now, Troy, just before we wrap it up, we do get after credit scene, which leads to Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
So we finally got, evidence. She's out there.
Yeah.
Now.
Kind of like a, hey, you better go watch this movie, you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how are we going to get her? Because that device, it looked very unique. Do you think that's like a something that can send messages through time?
Through space.
Through space?
Maybe. Like Captain Marvel wouldn't be earthbound.
No.
So, to me, it would be, possibly just sending a message to... It looked like a pager.
It did.
Let's be...
And we were just joking about pages previously early in the week.
We were, yeah.
Someone let us know how pages actually work.
Yeah, can you? Because it really is technology that doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, it kind of looks like a pager, but I would assume that by the end of Captain Marvel, we'll probably see her in modern times. She'll get the message, she'll suit up, and then she'll fucking, she'll do something. And then it'll be like, that's kind of where
let's like theory craft, because I've got like maybe two theories going on here.
What do you got?
Okay, so I think that maybe that little device sends through time, and maybe he sent a message to himself in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for what?
Well, to maybe let Captain Marvel know that,
Hey, Captain Marvel, in 20 years, dude.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to fight Thanos.
That could be it.
Maybe.
It could be it. I do have another theory, and it is going to Ant-Man.
Okay.
Here we go.
There we go.
Crazy Theory 101. I believe Ant-Man, when he goes down to that molecular level, that he can not only go through space, but he can go through time.
And?
He will be going back to the 90s to collect her.
Wow.
How? By shrinking down somehow through space and time.
You know that...
Arriving in the 90s, getting Captain Marvel, and bringing her back to the future.
You know, as Captain Marvel, she just lives... You know what I mean? 20 years as Captain Marvel.
But we don't know what happens in Captain Marvel yet.
Well, we don't. And that's kind of the thing. One thing I don't think is going to happen is Ant-Man.
You watch.
Nah. This is your Soul Stone theory being in the microverse all over again.
Yeah, this is 2.0, baby.
Yeah. No, I don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
I don't buy it at all.
Do you think it's just she's going to come back to Earth and kick some ass?
Yeah, I think she'll be... It's kind of like... You know, because she's like a cosmic defender, and it's kind of like, hey, we fucking need you on Earth, dude. Remember that time I helped you 20 years ago in the events in Captain Marvel? Now I need your, you know, you got to repay that favor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she'll be like, oh, I'm getting too old for this shit. And then, you know, and then she'll come down and it'll be like Lethal Weapon 5.
I like it.
Yeah. One more question.
Okay.
Where does this, there's 19 movies, where does this rank for you? Because we did our top 5 in our live episode last week, which, you know, for me can really change at any given time.
Depends what way the wind's blowing.
Yeah. Now that you've had a week to process, does this hit your top 5?
Oh man, I don't think it would. It like might be like sitting around the number 5s. It's, you know what? It's hard because it's got that recency factor.
Yeah.
My number 5 is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, you know, I reckon it would knock Spider-Man off. It'll be number 5 in my top 5.
Number 5 in your top 5.
Yeah. What about you?
It's hard to go past saying that it's the best I've seen, like out of the movies. But they're on different levels. So I guess Infinity War delivered on pretty much every level I wanted it to deliver on. And because it did that, how can you not say that that's probably the best movie?
Well, absolutely.
But then you look
expectation you had is met.
Well, yeah, exactly. But then you look at something like Captain America Winter Soldier, which on a grounded level is probably one of the best grounded Marvel movies. Do you know what I mean? And then you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, and Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the best intro movie to a group of characters. So they're like, you know, if I'm saying they're kind of like my top 3, then they're all interchangeable because they could all technically be number 1s in their own kind of little sub-genres, right? That's how you fuck a rating scale.
Yeah,
up.
that's it. Holy moly. No, probably your best Avengers movie.
Oh, 100%. Like,
Yeah,
there's
just say that.
no doubt. But
It doesn't
just
make your top 3 Avengers movies.
Well, just. Yeah. But Avengers was in my top 5. So then, technically,
It takes that
Infinity
spot.
War takes that spot.
There you go.
That's how the cookie crumbles, baby.
And that's going to do it for another week. Troy killed it, mate.
Killed it.
Snap of the fingers, mate.
Done.
Done.
50% of the show's done. Yeah, so that was, holy crap. If you managed to sit through that entire hour talk of Infinity War, then
Bravo.
I salute you.
Bravo.
God, and the thing is I could keep talking about it. That's the problem.
You know what?
I feel like we barely scratched the surface.
I think so.
But, hey, that's it.
We're
it. Done.
And guess what?
What?
There was a dog in the studio the whole time, so you may have heard little puppy snores.
Look, honestly, they probably didn't even know, but now they do.
Well,
and
now
now
they
they're
know.
going to be listening for them. They're going
Yeah.
to go back and rewind and listen for puppy snores. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I think that dude dropped a fart at one point.
He dropped about 4 farts.
So
It was terrible, man.
that's what we've been dealing with while talking about Infinity War. So that is it for this week. Where can people find us, Cade?
They can find us on Facebook. That's Comic Confidential. And we also have a listener community. That's where you want to be. That's a Comic Confidential listener community. Find that on Facebook. Hit join. Whatever the button says. Subscribe. No, it's not subscribe. It's just join.
Yeah, I think it's join.
And man, just get in there and just talk to a whole bunch of other listeners of the show.
Do it.
There's hundreds in there.
Hundreds.
And they're all good. There's not one bad egg.
There's not.
We make sure of that.
Yeah, by saying, hey,
No bad eggs.
be a good boy.
Yeah.
We have a website.
That's comicconpod.com. Past episodes, future episodes, and everything in between.
We also have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/ComicConPod, where you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. We have just gone through and absolutely
Rejuvenated our Patreon.
All the tiers get some extra goodness.
Oh, wow. Troy, what does our minimum $1 a tier month get you now?
$1 a month gets you a guaranteed weekly bonus episode.
Did you say weekly?
I did say weekly.
Are we?
And just so you're hearing me, I also said guaranteed.
Guaranteed weekly bonus episodes that aren't available to the public.
They aren't. And we also have the $2 thing remains the same. You get the super sweet Patreon super secret chat thing, which people seem to enjoy. Then the $5 tier, that's a thing. They get all the other stuff. Plus, they also get access to a brand new monthly show. You might have heard us speak about it on the show before if you're not just joining us for the first time or whatnot. Netflix and Chat is becoming an actual genuine podcast for Patreon members only.
There you go.
That's a thing. Other people get T-shirts and stuff.
You get T-shirts now.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, check it out. It's on the website, like I said, patreon.com/ComicConPod. And jump on it. Hey, do your thing. Do your thing, girlfriend. That's it, though.
That is it, Troy.
I'm going to sign us out. As always, I'm Troy.
I'm Cade.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace.
An hour of infinity talk.
Yeah, look, honestly, man, I swear I could have kept talking.
Yeah.
There's so many things we brushed over.
Oh, but you know what? We should have done like an Infinity War part 1, part 2, part 3.
No.
But, we've done like 1,000 Marvel episodes recently.
We were talking about this before. We have been doing Road to Infinity episodes since the Black Panther review. So, fuck me.
That's a lot of Marvel.
That's a lot of Marvel.
It's almost a Marvel in itself.
Hey!
If you love this podcast, then head over to comicconpod.com to check out the other incredible shows on our network.
You can also support us on Patreon from as little as $1 a month.
You'll get early access to all our shows, plus secret supporter content that's not available to the public.
Head over to patreon.com/ComicConPod to find out more.